Ever felt small? Discover how you may be part of a much bigger plan. You matter more than you think. Well, today's story is about a young boy named David who had something incredible happen to him. He was chosen by God to be a king. Let's jump right into it. Once upon a time in the land of Israel, there was a man named Samuel. He was a prophet and a priest, someone who listened to God and shared his messages. One day, God spoke to Samuel. He said, "Samuel, I have chosen the next king of Israel. Go to Bethlehem to the house of Jesse. One of his sons will be the new king." Samuel was a bit nervous because the current king, Saul, might not be too happy about this. But Samuel trusted God and packed his things for the trip. When Samuel arrived, Jesse, a tall man with a big friendly smile, welcomed him.
"Welcome, Prophet Samuel."
Jesse's sons, all 7 of them, came running out of the house. They stood tall and proud, ready to impress Samuel.
Wow, these young men look like kings already.
But God whispered to Samuel, "Don't judge by how they look on the outside. I'm looking at their hearts." Samuel nodded and smiled. "All right, Jesse, let's meet your sons one by one." First up was Eliab, Jesse's oldest son. He stood tall with broad shoulders and a confident grin. Samuel thought, "This must be the one." But God said, "No, not him." Next came Abinadab. He flexed his muscles and smiled wide, but God said, "Nope, not him either." Then came Shammah. He walked in, trying to look cool, but God said, "Not Shammah." One by one, all 7 of Jesse's sons stood before Samuel, and every time God said, "Not this one." Samuel scratched his head. "Jesse, are these all your sons?" Jesse hesitated and said, "Well, there is one more. He's my youngest son, David. He's out in the fields taking care of the sheep." Samuel smiled and said, "Send for him. We won't sit down to eat until he arrives." A servant ran to the fields to fetch David. Meanwhile, the brothers looked at each other, confused. "David? Really? He's just a kid." When David arrived, he was glowing with energy, his cheeks rosy from the sun. His hair bounced as he ran, and his smile could light up the room. He was young, handsome, and full of life. God whispered to Samuel, "This is the one. Anoint him." Samuel smiled wide, took his horn of oil, and poured it over David's head. The oil dripped down, and in that moment, God's Spirit came powerfully upon David. David, our little brother, the one who sings to the sheep. God doesn't see people the way we do. He sees what's in the heart, and David's heart is after God. David stood there, grinning from ear to ear. He didn't feel ready to be a king, but he trusted God's plan. After all, if God could choose a shepherd boy, he could help him become a great king. And that's how David, the youngest and smallest, was chosen to be the next king of Israel. So remember this: it doesn't matter how big or strong you are. What matters is your devotion to God, how obedient you are to His word, being kind, loving, and trusting God's plan for you. Next time someone tells you you're too young or too small, just think of David. Who knows what amazing plans God has for you? What do you think made David special in God's eyes? If you were there, what would you have said to David when he got chosen? Can you act out being Samuel blessing David? Try it at home with a friend or sibling. Thanks for joining this incredible story about David. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. See you next time for more amazing Bible adventures.